Appeals. And Secretary, please record the roll of officers present, directors present. You have before you the minutes of the last meeting. Is there a motion to approve or any corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Corey, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Bruce. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried without dissent. Okay, we have a couple of, appeals that were tabled last meeting rather. I think we'll treat them individually. Is there a motion to take these from the table? Anybody gonna make a motion to take them off the table?
I will move to take them off the
Motion by
table.
Corey, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trevor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay? Okay, this is Robert and Holly Steyer. Could you come up and give us your name and all the particulars? I guess I heard a little bit of last time, and then I had to leave, so go ahead and give us all the particulars.
Good morning, I'm Robert Steyer, this is my wife Holly Steyer. This is concerning a code enforcement as far as the grass mowing. We had received our tax bill, and we noticed that there was a $500 assessment on our property tax bill. So we contacted the city, and they said this was concerning a mowing charge on a extra lot that we have here in town yet. Now, we had moved out to our new residence back in, it had been 3 years ago this May. And we had contacted the city and given the utility department our updated mailing address. And then the letter that we had received, or we had never received, was sent to our old address, which we haven't lived at for the past 2.5 years. So when we had contacted Rita at the code enforcement, or the assessor office, and I talked to someone else, and they said, well, at that point, it's already been sent to assessment, there's nothing we can do about it. So my question is we were never received any information that we were in any violation. We were never given an opportunity to correct the violation before the assessment was made. Now, when I had talked to the utility department, they have our updated address from 2.5 years ago. And then when I called the assessor's office, they still had the old address. And I asked them, I said, well, how do we go about getting you the correct address? We gave it to the utility department. We assumed it would be shared with all the departments within the city. Obviously, it wasn't. So according to what we were told is if we move again, we basically have to call every department and give them our correct address, our updated address. Well, we never received any notification that we were in violation until we got our bill through the county, because the county has our correct address, and they got us the property tax statement for last year showing that the assessment was on there. We've owned that lot for 15 years, and we've never had any complaints until this one.
All right, questions? Thoughts?
I know there was a question of he said, she said, and we do have a printout from the city that does show.
Through the utility department
If you would
showing
like-
that
if you
the
would like
date
to
of the corrected
If you
address.
wanted to see it when we changed our address with them.
Yeah, we'll pass it down. Thank you. Back in 15.
And we've always gotten our property tax statement, and it, obviously they've always been paid through the county, so the county has the correct address. And when we talked to the county, they told us that that information is passed on to the city.
I guess I have a question for you. You folks own that property, and why wouldn't you keep the grass mowed? I mean, isn't that your responsibility as an owner?
We've kept it mowed for the past 15 years, since we've owned that property.
I guess
But obviously, it wasn't mowed during this time.
You asked that question before too, Pat, and I explained to you, I drove by several times, and I only saw you know how you get some of the weeds that are really tall? That's what I saw. It wasn't the whole, I've driven by, I never saw it really tall. So I've never seen pictures or nothing, so.
Okay.
Okay, other questions? Comments? Leonard, do you have anything further?
Again, repeat myself as in last meeting. We have a policy that we follow. It's the International Property Maintenance Code. Anything over 10 inches, plant growth, weeds or grass, the property owner is sent the notice. The information at the time that our department sent it out, we took it off of our GIS or assessor's page. That was the best information our department, that's the system that we use. Our IT has changed some of the things where we will get, if the property is, the address is changed, it should update quicker. There still can be lapsed in this. Again, I mean, reasonable means of notification based on the property maintenance code were made by our department. Pictures, we can share the pictures with you if you like. Definitely, it was a violation. It's plain to see by the photos here. And a lot of things is we're not driving around looking for a lot of these. It is complaint driven. We do have sometimes staff right now, so we are driving around, but every day we're getting, especially with the rainfall this year, we're getting numerous calls, letters, drop box in the alley, notice of properties to look at. And people are actually driving around. I got 3 addresses just from an individual on Friday of this. But like I said, I can show these, whether or not proper notice, we never got mail back after sending it to the previous address. But the notice was sent out, our contractor did mow it, and that contractor has been paid. If you want, I can show you.
Yes, please.
Well, I think we do have a problem here. I even noticed that we have letters to the editor in the paper. Lost enough taken care of.
I believe if they would have received the letter, they would have went over and got it. I believe there is a hardship on their part from, they didn't receive it, and had it been in their hand, they would have gone over and mowed it, I believe, but kind of where I'm leaning.
Oh, I think that's right. Who set the city commission set the $500?
Yes, the city, in the past, I believe it was $50 up to an acre. We had to have people just not mowing because it was cheaper for the city to mow it than them to hire a contractor.
I guess I have a little problem with the $500 if you would charge them just to keep the $50 fine and charge them $100 an hour to mow it, or some such thing as that. I think I've been more inclined.
The number of hours that it takes staff just to do a property maintenance and mowing, I mean, we don't care to actually send out these notices. I mean, I believe citizens of Dickinson have a responsibility to keep their properties kept. And even with all the ordinances that are on the city municipal code, I kind of related to traffic speeds. Again, if you hunt regulations, you just don't go out and do what you want. You do your homework and know what the laws are. Again, I believe you know, you used to live right next to this.
Yes, we own the property right behind it, and then we sold that house, and the owner didn't want to buy that existing lot.
And just from the pictures there, I doubt that it was ever at that while you were living
No.
there. I
No.
mean, because it's right there, and you see it every day, so you definitely take care of it. I mean, I have a lot too, but I make it a point to get over there. I mean, it's not right next to me, but I go and mow it. I mean, and especially this year, I mean, been over there more than the past years just because of the amount of rainfall. But again, it is a responsibility to take care
Oh,
of
yeah,
properties.
I agree with that.
And keeping up. If you drive around town even currently, just even city lots right now, I think definitely need attention. So we have to get out there. I mean, it's a different department than ours, but those are the types of things we hear.
I have a question. So are we required to actually give notice? So what if the city just hired someone to go around and mow lots that were not in code and just send fines? I mean, are we required to give notice?
We are required per the property maintenance code to give notice. Other cities essentially put it in their newspaper. That's the notice.
Okay.
Our commission and past commission this is essentially as a courtesy, a reminder to take care of your property. And it does take staff time, and it costs the city money to do this.
Oh, I agree. I fully agree. But I guess the $500 plus mowing charges, I just think is a little bit,
Well, $500 is an incentive to get it done so the city does not have to do it. I mean, that's essentially, we had it at, whether it was at $250 at one point in time, and we had property owners just still not even doing it. The commission approved the 500. When you get the letter and you see the 500, or you're aware of that ordinance, you're gonna take care of your property. I mean, I mow mine because I essentially don't want to spend $500 to have somebody else do it.
Well, we definitely wouldn't expect you guys to come out and mow this. If we, as Corey had stated, if we'd have gotten the notification, we would have
Would've
taken
done it.
care of it, and we've taken care of it since. Has there been any complaints since last year at this time?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay, so we take care of it. We just got away on us, and like I said, if we'd have gotten the notification, we would have definitely taken care of it. And we've taken care of it since then. We've taken care of it in the past too.
And I do appreciate that you do take care of it, but it's the neighbors. I mean, it definitely got out of control. I mean, the neighbors are calling us, and we give up to a week to accommodate so people can get it done. But in that time, I don't know if you've been driving around town. We had a property just on South Main. It was the grass was 4 foot. I mean, it's again, unfortunately, it got away from you, but we still have that responsibility.
We're not disputing that the height of the grass was too high. We're not disputing that. We're disputing the fact that we were never given the opportunity to correct it, and we have corrected it since then. And obviously, we've maintained it for many years. So,
well, tell me why it wasn't done, why it got away from you.
I'm an over-the-road truck driver, so I'm gone for sometimes 2-3 weeks at a time, and for my wife and kids to load up a mower and come over there and mow it is quite difficult since we do live out of town now. I don't have a little trailer or nothing.
Okay.
And, when I get back, we get it taken care of. And we actually went and bought a trailer now so we can get the little mower on it, so we can get over there and mow it when I'm out of town.
If not, you have two options, gentlemen. Move to deny the appeal. The owner may appeal to the city commission. Or option two is move to grant the owner relief requested and overturn the violation.
I've got one comment.
Go ahead.
You know, I do believe that this couple, just based on their, how they're speaking, I do believe that they would have taken care of that property had they received the notice. My only concern is if we set precedent, that's my only concern. If we let this go, then how do we say no to someone that we have a feeling that they have bad faith in maintaining the property, as opposed to good faith in maintaining the property and missed it.
I think
I'm
if
just
it's
concerned that it's we have to become, we have to weigh this, and I don't know that I'm that psychologist person that can tell. So
Well, there again, I think.
that's my only concern.
There again, I really feel that we have to be a psychologist in some cases and treat every case individually.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Any other comments? Questions for Stires?
My husband was gonna
Yes,
bat,
go ahead.
my husband was gonna bat his eyes at you guys, so I told him to bat his eyes at you. Would
I
that
looked at
help?
her and did it to her, and it didn't help.
Do you have anything else, Lou?
The only thing is that I don't see as far as the attorney's recommendations, the city did pay a contractor to mow the property. So there was a cost associated, and based on the pictures, it wasn't like it didn't need to be done. So that's the only thing I'd have to add to that.
I have a question. Is it 100% yes or no? Can you change the fine, or we don't have that power?
But again, we don't call it a fine,
Or
it's
the
a fee.
Violation for
I
fee,
just-
yes, sorry.
I thought based on the last meeting that, again, recommendations from the board, from what the attorney put here, I guess I'd have to, and she's not in today, that would be my question to her, is if you could actually change the recommendation.
I thought she brought that up, and
Yeah, that's what.
she didn't think we could
That you
change the
couldn't?
250, or change the 500. Let's look at the meeting. Because we had spoke about that, and
Mr. Murphy stated after that the board can set their own procedure.
oh, okay.
Yeah, at the, page 2 towards the bottom.
Yeah, it says we have the ability to adjust it.
Do we have any idea what the
Guys,
contract,
this is,
contract fee
this
is?
is new to us too. The Board of Adjustments is taking on the Board of Appeals here, so bear with us.
That's fine.
So I've got one other comment. So, so do we want to, so steps have been taken to correct the address, the mailing address for this situation and other situations?
To the best of the ability of what we have in front of us, yes.
Okay. So do we weigh the fact that there's maybe, excuse me, maybe some responsibility that was on the city? Or if you're driving down the road at 100 miles an hour because your cruise control wasn't working and you get stopped, you think you think the highway patrol is going to give you a break on that?
Point, Dave.
So anyway, I mean, do we consider that? Is that part of our consideration?
I think it should be. Right, they were responsible for their grass, but they weren't notified. We tried to our available means, but it still did not. It was, they were gone for 2.5 years and it still wasn't corrected, that it still went to the other address, is my problem here. 2.5 years, it should have been corrected.
Yeah, and I agree the same thing. I guess I have a little thing of that, you know, it was already July, you know, when this is. I don't know when you normally cut. I mean, I cut a lot of lots.
It was mowed several times before that.
So,
That wasn't like the first time it was mowed for the year in July. It had been mowed before that.
okay.
Yeah, you can see
You know,
both sides. You're definitely
the-
responsible for your
Yes.
lot.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a little, because the city did incur the cost to mow it, so
Right.
I don't know if they should,
Eat it all.
if we go down to 0, I mean, it's
Yeah.
still unfair either way, I believe.
Is it possible to waive the $500 fee and charge them an amount for mowing?
The property's been assessed already, so I'm not sure what that process would be to
To
reimburse
take the
or,
blame?
We've already paid the property tax bill,
Okay.
so that's already been paid, so we didn't incur any.
500 has been paid.
Yeah, we paid that, so we didn't incur any other interest charges down the road on that deal, so that has been taken care of, just to settle that part of it with the Stark County. We didn't want to hassle with them.
so what, I would have to check with administration, depending on a board decision, if there happened to be a reimbursement, what that process would be, whether the board's decision here would have to go to the commission would have to approve it, I believe. So I believe that would be the process. Done with the board, it goes to the city commission, and that would go from there. But I can check with administration to see what that process would be.
Does it show the lot size on this lot?
7,500.
Okay.
7,500 square feet, yes.
The cost of mowing is included in the $500 fee?
Correct.
Oh, I thought it was 500 plus the cost. No? Okay.
It's $500 per lot per hour. Up to an hour for a lot,
Up to an hour, and then what is it after that?
another 500.
Another 500?
So 500 an hour, minimum of 500 per lot.
Correct.
Mr. Chairman, in the essence of time and the discussion of this, I would make a motion that we split this $500. Part of this is the city's problem because the mail hasn't been delivered. The address has been incorrect. And the other side, I feel that the owner owns that property and to me, somebody doesn't have to let me know that I need to cut my grass. I mean, that's just something you do. And I feel that that should have been your responsibility. So therefore, I would make a motion that we split that at $250 each.
Motion by Pat to split the fee to 200, or drop the fee to 200. Or 250.
250.
250.
I'll second that.
Is there a second? Second by Corey. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Pat?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
You say aye?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
I guess I'd go along with that. And, I still think it costs the city something to mow it.
Yeah, we agree with that. We were gonna come up and say, well, we'll pay the city whatever the mowing cost was, and then just kind of wipe it out from there
Okay.
then. I mean, I don't know how much the actual mowing cost was for,
It is half.
it is half. They charge $250 for 7,500 square foot to mow.
Yes.
Okay.
It's based off what the commission has decided. And just.
No, the question to you was,
Yeah.
what was the actual mowing cost
We
to the
paid
city?
we paid the contractor $250.
Okay,
And the other 250 is for administrative.
Correct.
okay, we didn't know how much you actually, okay.
Yes.
Where do I apply for that job?
Yeah,
It's
is
an
is that
open-
put out on bids or
it's-
something?
It's actually an open contract. Anybody can show insurance, bond, and be put on the list to mow lots.
Okay,
You got a new job.
I guess.
Just to remind you that this decision would have to go to the
Yes.
commission. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'll trade you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, Pat.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Okay, who's here to speak for Luke and Audrey Lynn? We have pictures? We got pictures. Go
My
ahead.
name is Luke Lenz. I'm here with a similar complaint about a lawn maintenance code. Mine is that, same thing, about 2.5 years, and our new residents did not receive notice that our lawn was to be mowed. It went to an old address. So we never received that. Noticed it on our tax statement is when we discovered the fee. The reason I'm here is because I do think it is overpriced. I think it's an unfair amount. It is set too high for a lot of my size. That is why I think it should be reduced or eliminated. Reduced is, I think, fair. I understand we've already had this conversation, so I understand that it was done. I understand that it was high. My lot is rented by multiple renters that are in and out of there. It is their responsibility. I have other properties in town as well that I've never had any complaints on, as well as my personal property. Pat is kept in great condition. I do take pride in this city, so please don't imply that I don't. But yeah, I was not properly notified, was not given the opportunity to change it. I think it should be amended. And I think you should reconsider your cost. I don't think that's a fair price. I don't think negotiating a $250 an hour contractor is a good idea for the city, but I think it should be reduced because we're not properly notified.
Did you say it was up to your renters to cut that?
Yes, it is their responsibility.
Ooh.
That's in the agreement,
That is
that's in the agreement.
It is
but
in
it's
the-
ultimately the
But you're
property
not-
owner's
You're
responsibility.
not checking on to make sure it's done.
I mean, I'm not sure how long this was, but lawns can grow fairly high, fairly quickly. And I do not drive around every week looking at my properties, no.
Well, I'm not so sure you shouldn't. But
This property, there's multiple letters that were sent out. It is reoccurring. It's right on on Highway 22. As the photos depict, I mean, they were well over in excess of 10 inches. Again, it is the property owner's responsibility to maintain the lots. You can put that responsibility as part of a contract for your tenant to do that, but ultimately, the city of Dickinson, just like water bills, if a tenant doesn't pay the water bill, the owner is billed. We don't keep track of every tenant and every contract. The city just can't get into that way of doing things. Essentially, it's the property owner. There's been multiple violations at this location, and it has been an eyesore in the past.
Have you been getting a lot of complaints from neighbors?
Well, generally, it's actually not neighbors, because it is all essentially a rental.
Yep.
Every home there is a rental, so you don't get complaints. But by passersby, people picking up food at the local food vendor right there, people call in and I mentioned the eyesore. Again, the fee was put in there to deter this from happening. We have other responsibilities with the city, and I'd rather have our time on that. But we hire part-time staff in the summertime just to address the tall grass and weeds. And we're still sending out, I don't have a number right now, but the amount of letters that have gone out already, I believe it's well over, in the last month, well over 300. So, I mean, we're sending them out. Again, we send them out to, what was it, the address put on there. We did not receive any mail back, return mail, or return to sender, nothing of that sort. Again, this is a pretty visible property, driving north to south, and every year we generally get comments on that.
Anything else, Mr. Lynch?
Nope, that's it. If nothing else, I appreciate you hearing me, and I think it's good for citizens to express their concern about fees of.
Any other comment, questions?
What is your address now? Is it the Lakeview Drive?
That is correct.
Because I saw one of the letters was addressed to that on August 17th. They do have the correct,
You're correct.
if you look at the code enforcement statements, the first two were
Okay,
940 5th Street West. And then that had changed to, in August 17th, to the Lakeview Drive.
okay. Mm-hmm.
So it was changed, or I received that's saying there was a letter sent to me? Or
Well,
that's saying that the address was changed
If you
at
look
the
at the
time?
code enforcement, it says deed holder of the lot, and the first two in May were sent to 940 5th Street West. And then there's one in August 17th that was sent to the 3087 Lakeview Drive. So someplace along the line it has been corrected.
So there was ample opportunity here.
Yeah.
What was the date of when that was mowed? I still have not received a letter for when this occurrence happened.
August 17th, 2017,
So it was the August at the time.
August 17th. Any other questions for Mr. Lynch? Comments? If not, is there a motion to deny? To deny or overturn the violation?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to deny.
Okay, motion by Bruce to deny. Is there a second? Second by Pat. Further discussion? Hearing none. Bruce?
Aye.
Pat?
Aye.
Trevor?
Aye.
Corey?
Aye.
I'll vote aye.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, and, if you go to the city commission, you have to go to the administration office to apply for that, right?
No, thank you.
If you appeal. Thanks. Anything else to come before the board this morning?
I applaud the board for taking the initiative to look at this a little closer. I think it's an important item. Our city is small, and I think it's nice to see it clean as you come into the corridors of the town. The first case, I would have gone for the denial on that, but I think somewhere on the line, the city in the addressing thing might have been partially at fault there, but I think it is, as I said, an important item that we stay on top of, and each case pretty much has to be dealt individually. And, we're willing to work with you guys. This is our first sale here, and I think it went fairly well, so.
Just so the board's aware, what we've done to actually go beyond, there is a portion in our code that allows that you can actually post the property itself. So we're actually doing everything. We're sending out the notice by mail. We actually purchased the orange cone, put the 10 inches on there as far as a photo, set it on the property, take those photos. It'll be applied to the property. Plus, we got door tags stating the violation that we will put on the door, take a photo of that also. So, I mean,
Okay.
if for whatever reason somebody contends that they never got the letter or they moved, our code allows us, I mean, we're taking the information that we have and that address that's on our system, I mean, without really spending a half hour or more, you still might end up with that same address. I mean, you
Right.
check it a couple times, and the mail goes out. We don't it isn't returned to us. So generally, you would think you'd actually get that mail returned if it's undeliverable for that person at that. I still get the previous owners, and I put return to sender on it, whether or not that happened in this case or not. But we're actually doing 3 of the steps or more instead of just that one currently. So that it'll be a lot easier to make that decision where, well, I didn't get the letter. Well, we posted the property. That's the way, I guess, that I'm addressing this. Whether we put a wood stake on there with that notice, take a photo of it, that is one of the steps. We can, if you can't get a hold of the person or you don't get a response, you can post the property.
Do we have some more of these coming up?
As far as the appeal process would be toward the end of the year, because the assessments go out in October.
Okay.
So it would probably be, I would say, next year. Or if we send out notice to pay a bill, I suppose it would be earlier. Because once we get the bill from the contractor, we send it to that property owner. And that process, I mean, it was sent out, and they said they only noticed on the assessors, so there was a lot of mail that went somewhere.
Well, okay, anything else? Any other questions, comments? If not, is there a motion to adjourn? Second by Trevor, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.